and welcome to the FE Bar. I'm your host, Jack Jordan Maynard, and joining me once again is Mr. Jack Pickering. Formula E made it 5 from 5 with Maximilian Gunther picking up victory in Tokyo, but did Oliver Rowland throw it away after dominating the first 25 laps of the race? Also in today's show we'll be discussing Lola, news entry, and what drivers would you put in the car. We also want to know your best April Fool's jokes or things you fell for in the past or even today. And how many Easter eggs have you eaten already? It's been Easter. Happy Easter, everyone. And that's all to come on the FE Bar tonight. Mr. Pickering, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. A lot better than I was over the course of the weekend. It was a very good weekend. I started out by going to Shrewsbury to see Oxford United draw. And then Tokyo was actually really good as well. So I didn't have a voice for Tokyo, and I was throwing in the deep end and doing comms with Josh Birch, who will undoubtedly be on the show a little bit later on. But yeah, it was a really good race. That Tokyo was one that had been 10 years in the making, and honestly, it delivered.
Yeah, I thought it was a good race. I thought it was my weekend. What did I do? So I was up early. Formula E took up most of it, Friday and Saturday, and then I went and watched Brentford somehow not beat Manchester United. So that was good. And Sunday was Easter Sunday, so we're just chilling. So Pico. Right, come on, we're talking today. It's Easter. How many Easter eggs have you eaten? Like, come on, how many Easter eggs have you eaten? One big Lindor. Is that only one? Only one?
No, I bought that today.
You bought it today?
I had to do a food shop, so I thought I saw that would have been reduced from £15 to £6.80. So
yeah,
I should have gone. I should have gone into the shops today actually to see if there was any Easter eggs left. I've got a goddaughter that I need to still buy an Easter egg for, and I probably should have gone today to find one. So last minute Easter eggs. Who has brought Easter eggs today? That's another question then that we're going to ask people if you come onto the show. Who has brought an Easter egg today? And if you don't want to come to the show, you can put it in the chat as well. I did have it beforehand, but I actually yesterday and then beforehand as well. But yeah, I mean, I thought that's a bargain having that.
Yeah, it's a bargain. It's a big Easter eggs, It's always those ones, right? The big ones that they just don't. The big £15 Easter eggs, they just don't fall. They don't sell, do they? They sell afterwards. But
it's Lynn. It's Lynn. I never get Lynn.
It's a good purchase. Good Easter eggs, right? So again, in chat, let us know what Easter eggs you've got for Easter. Any good ones?
My brother has said that there's it's a Terry's chocolate orange popping one, I think.
Oh.
You could only get it in Tesco though, and so yeah, I think that's a solid one that my brother said that he really liked over the Easter period.
And then also it's April 1st today, right? So I got to talk April Fool's jokes. Have you fallen for any today? Has anything got you out?
Not today, no. Like it's probably the first year in a very long time where nothing's really caught me out. I usually there's usually one or two where I'll go where I will be fooled for about 5 minutes, and then someone will go, "Yeah, Jack, it's remember the day it is today."
Yeah.
But actually, no, today I actually did really well, and I didn't fall for anything.
I think I nearly fell from our German friends. I kind of went, hold on a sec. When they did the Maximilian Gunther thing, falling down from the podium and he sprained his wrist, I was like, hang on a second. It's a day today, isn't it? It's got to be April Fool's. I think that nearly got me for a slight second. I was like, that's an April Fool's joke. But I think within like a second, I was like, that is an April Fool's joke. One I did fall for, right, last year was Formula E's actually. Because I don't know what I was thinking or what I was doing last 1st of April, but they said that London would have an underwater section. And I was like, yeah, I could see that. That could work. I'm down for an underwater section. I was like, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. Didn't have no idea. Thought it was true. And then later in the afternoon went, oh, silly me. So, yeah, any April Fool's jokes. Doesn't have to be today. Might be one that you've fallen for. Anyone that you've done. Anything that you've made your friends or family fall for. That would be pretty cool too. Right, I suppose then. Yes?
I just want to say before we end this point, I think the person that caught you out on April Fool's is in the chat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did today. He did today.
Well done. Good job.
He sent me a message and I was like, he did catch me out. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But anyhow, let's talk Tokyo then, because yeah, it was a good race. I love the track. I want to start with the track first, right? Because that was I would say an old-fashioned, but that is a Formula E track that I wanted to see. Like Tokyo, the bumps, the twists, the turns, the little techie sections. I just loved it.
It seemed to be the sort of perfect blend of New York, London, and Punta del Este is what me and Josh sort of figured out during commentary, because we had that bit down the ramp which was very London-esque. It was set sort of in a port, which is very New York, and then that very quick turn 9, I think it was, reminded me of, I'm going to get the corner number wrong. I want to say it was turn 13 in Punta del Este, the very quick right-hander before it becomes the quick chicane. And I mean, like I say, quick chicane in Punta del Este. I could be talking about like any
half
of the
them
corners in Punta. But yeah, so yeah, I thought it was a fantastic little track.
I hope it stays. I really do. I hope it stays. And I think the crowd...
I think it will.
I think the Japanese crowd, right, like, you know, it'll bring people. And I just think that is... We've got another marquee event. I think London is a marquee event, and I think Tokyo is now a marquee event.
I think Tokyo 100% is going to stay on the calendar. And you know the reason why? It's because in FP2, the stands were almost full.
Yeah. And very Japanese-like.
Yeah, no one gets up at 8 a.m. in the morning. That's too early. I've moaned to Formula E multiple occasions. I literally, I remember having a chat with Saunders in Jakarta in season 8, and he was like, yeah, no, you're preaching to the choir about the early mornings. Like, no one likes getting up 7 o'clock in the morning for practice 1. No. Make it later. I don't care if you want a flight to get out of there that evening.
To be fair, it is useful.
Make it later.
It is useful, especially for me when I'm getting the last flight out of Berlin at 9 o'clock in the race. I can be all wrapped up by 5:30 and then straight to the airport. I do like that. Sometimes it comes in handy, but waking up that early it is not great either. But let's talk Tokyo. Let's talk Maximilian Günther. Is he back? Right? I say he's back, right? He was my pick, right, last year, very famously, in the FEZ shows to win the championship. Didn't quite come to fruition. And I said to him in London, right, next year, mate, you got to do me proud, right? I said we didn't win. Next year, you got to do it. I'm going to stick by you. And I've stuck by him. And I'm like, you know what? He's had a great start to the season.
A reminder that Formula E Zone is completely unbiased.
Yeah, we are unbiased, but like, it's only because we made a pick, right, for the championship.
Yeah.
Right? I picked Maximilian Günther because he was fastest in testing. And I thought, you know what? Go on. It's his year to shine. Yeah. And then I was like, damn, I lost my bet effectively. So I'm like, this time.
The thing is, when you said that, he was very much a testing merchant. And I think he has sort of grown over time. And yeah, and he's leading Maserati now fantastically as well. And I don't know what you mean by
is he back? I don't know. Was he ever gone?
No, he didn't go away.
Fair enough.
Mexico City, he was on the podium. Last race in Sao Paulo, from the back of the grid, he made it up to 9.
But what I mean is,
I don't think he's gone away.
Last season.
He's been here all season.
It's very true. He's been here all season, but we haven't spoken about him much. Whereas last season, he kind of fell away. You know, he had those crashes early in the season. Diriyah kind of went missing in races.
He didn't fall away at the start of the season. He didn't turn up.
Yeah, he didn't turn up. Exactly. So, like, he had this little... And it's a great story, right? Because I remember talking to Maximilian and he was like, you know, he wasn't in that seat. It was Nick de Vries's seat. But then Nick de Vries got the call up to Formula One. And then they were like, oh, by the way, he's not even supposed to be here.
Yeah, no. Maserati was scrambling to find a name. And it was a shootout between him and Oliver Turvey. And Gunter got the seat.
Yeah, and here we are today, thinking that Günther's in this title fight, and he's doing a good job. I must admit, I'm very happy for him. I'm very happy. It's also interesting what I'd find is that the DS powertrain seems to be working wonders in the moment in the hands of Günther, but not to the wonders so much with Jev and Van Dorn. Why do you think that is?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure.
Not sure. We don't know. We have to ask Jev. Like, what's going on?
Complete question. Not sure.
Not sure. Because it's true, right? You'd expect if Gunther's doing that, Van Dorn and Verne have got the capacity to do what Gunther's doing 100%, right?
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, and I mean, like, my pick for the title last year was DS Penske and Verne. So, yeah.
So, anyway, right. We have a clip from Maximilian Gunther from the press conference. Unfortunately, it's not from Formula E. So we've had to borrow it from Electric Motor News, our friends from the Italian media, who also filmed it because the audio quality from Formula E's was atrocious. And thankfully, Electric Motor News' was much better. So let's hear what Maximilian Gunther had to say.
Now, Max, this is a monumental...
Okay, so no sound, which is fine. I'm going to play it again. This time there will be sound. I was just waiting to see if the thing that had happened happened again. I tried testing it earlier, but it works on my end. But for some reason, I can hear it, and when I record it, I can hear it. But then it doesn't, for whatever reason, on a streaming side, it doesn't like it. So I've got to try and work out why it happened in the first episode, why it didn't happen in the second episode. I know why it happened last week, and I'm going to do the exact same thing that it did last week. So, Mr. Pickering, please be quiet. And this time, let's hear from Gunther properly.
Now, Max, this is a monumental race, the first ever race here on the streets of Tokyo. How does it feel to be the first ever winner here?
Yeah, first of all, it's amazing that we race here. It's such a nice city, such a nice country. Really love the culture, and yeah, felt very welcomed here. And it's a great track, very challenging, very technical, and yeah, to win the first ever Tokyo E-Prix is a huge feeling. I think yeah, in general we can be really proud about what we've done this weekend. We were in the top 3 in all the sessions. Always up there, and yeah, then at the end to walk away with the victory obviously is great. I think yeah, execute the race really well. Like strategy was good, like 1 or 2 good moves to move up, and then yeah, we defended it until the last lap. It was very tight with Oli. Strong job to him as well, and yeah, very very happy.
Were you surprised perhaps that you got past Ollie so easily at the end?
Well, it wasn't that easy, but I surprised him, I guess, into turn 10. And yeah, obviously this opened up the race for us. I tried to actually pull a bit of a gap, but I couldn't really, obviously enough to take my attack mode, and this was then key to win the race. But yeah, obviously it was very tight on energy. The Porsche cars, Jake and P3, they were coming very fast with lots of energy from behind. So both Ollie and me, we had to defend hard. That's what we did, and yeah, in the end it paid off.
It's your second victory for the team. How does this compare to that first win in Jakarta last year?
Well, I guess every victory is special in its own way. Obviously, yeah, this one feels great because we drive a strong season so far. We're building something pretty good, I think. We made some good changes in the last couple of weeks. I think we already showed it in Sao Paulo. Obviously there we didn't get so many points from starting last, but I think this weekend we transferred it into a very good outcome, and yeah, look forward to the races to come.
You're very much in the championship mix now, all 3 of you, but Max, for you scored points in every race so far this season. How important is it now to keep up that momentum going into another new track in 2 weeks' time in Misano?
Yeah, obviously 2 home races for Maserati now coming up in Misano. I think, yeah, very different track. I haven't driven the layout yet in the sim. I'm going to do it in a few days, and yeah, I think going to be great. You know, driving in Italy for an Italian brand is great. Already Rome last year was cool, and yeah, looking forward.
Thank you very much. Congratulations again, Maximilian.
So, just here and there from Maximilian Gunther. I suppose I talk about consistency a lot with, Formula E, and I suppose with Max, right? Consistency is key, and he has been scoring points every weekend. So surely, if he keeps that up, he'll be in this championship fight.
100%, yeah, no, yeah. Obviously, what happened in Sao Paulo is a little bit of an outlier because he had to start from the back, had to serve a penalty as well, and only really got back into that race because of the safety car. But even then, we knew that it seems to be something that he can just he's able just to pull it out. He's able to pull it out of the Maserati package, and is able to fight at the front. And it's like we said earlier, it's very peculiar that Jev, the most successful driver in Formula E, and Stoff, who put together, I think, one of the greatest championship campaigns that we've ever seen, can't get hold of that at DS Penske, whereas Max Gunther, who was dropped in at last minute thanks to Alex Albon's appendix, as Chris put in the chat, it's incredible that he's able to do it, but he's got to be seen as a potential championship contender at this point. And even and there are a few other names that I think Gunter's more likely than another name that I'd throw in the championship contenders ring. He's more likely than one of the others that I'd say at the moment. But yeah.
Yeah, did Roland throw it away? Because he was dominating that race, right, for 25 laps. And then I know he was a little bit down on energy, and he did catch that energy up when lifting to allow Gunther through. But effectively, he allowed Gunther to create a gap. He had no defense to, we all thought the chess play was let Gunther through, stay with him, attack mode, save energy, come out in front of him, win the race. Right? That's what we thought the chess move was. But in fence, he had no defense to that because he allowed Gunther to make the advantage, take attack mode, and win the race.
Allowing Gunther through basically saved Roland's race, though, because if Roland had stayed out front, he wouldn't have been able to conserve enough energy to have finished that race. And so Roland did the only thing that he could in letting Max through, and then had to keep to his pace. And yet it wasn't enough for when Max took attack mode, and then Max was able to hold his pace. But we've also got to remember that Roland is fairly new to these types of races as well. Like, yes, he's a veteran in terms of Formula E standards, but he missed half a season, and most of that half a season was these peloton style races that we had in Portland and etc. So yeah, I think Roland is still sort of learning the style of races that we've got in Gen 3, especially with a new manufacturer as well. So, but we know that the pace is there, and I don't think you could have asked anyone in that paddock, no one had Roland down for being a championship contender this early on.
Yeah,
but he's got the consistency, and will he go all the way? I doubt it, but he's definitely flying the ointment to the likes of Jag, to the likes of Porsche, who wanted to go out and dominate this season, and he's just there, and honestly, it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's good for Roland to be there and showing us again why he's there, because a little bit hit and miss, I suppose, even with Mahindra and so forth, it didn't quite work out. So for him being back, I think it is important. I think, though, Alan Prost used to say you'd win the race in the slowest possible amount of time. And I think Roland, we felt like at the beginning of the race that Roland was managing the energy quite well, and they were going quite slow, and the fastest laps were being ticked from the people behind. My argument is, could he have continued that? Could he have just lifted off and gone a bit slower in the right places and saved the energy that way? Allow Gunther could have been well, he would have been in a really bad place, because if he was going that slow, then Gunther probably would have been 5th or 6th after his attack mode and not able to go through. I think could he have done that potentially? But let's hear from Roland, because what Pico said was very true. It did, he felt, save his race.
When I say that it was easy, it appeared easy for Maximilian to get past you there. Was that part of the strategy? Were you saving energy there, or was there a mistake? Just explain that one.
Well, no, I mean, the way the Formula is now, the slipstream's quite powerful, and I was kind of managing to just about under-consume and keep them behind before the safety car, but I knew that their targets in terms of energy were probably building. Unfortunately, after the safety car, the target dropped quite significantly, and the lap time delta here is quite aggressive in terms of how much lap time you lose for the energy target coming down. So I was kind of in a position where if I'd have stayed out front any longer, then I would have probably been swallowed up by more people. Of course I was trying to keep the lead, but when he had the energy and he needed to do the attack mode, so I knew he was going to try and attack because he needed to pull the gap and take it. But yeah, I think he did a solid job. It's kind of one of those things. If I did it again, I'm not really sure what I'd do different. Would I have to relinquish the lead maybe a bit earlier and stay the slipstream? But yeah, I think we maximised what we could, and yeah, it was on the table, which is a bit frustrating.
I can imagine 3 podiums in a row though, so 2 third places today, 2nd, so that victory can't be far away now.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably better than we imagined at the start of the season, obviously missing half of last year, coming back to a team that's kind of rebuilding. But I think the package is really strong. I think in qualifying we have one of the best cars. In the race we have some limitations, but I think it shows today if we do the job then we can still fight at the front. So we need to keep qualifying towards the front and keeping in the mix of the races and scoring points. But yeah, it's a bit of a different story to the last couple of years.
So yeah, Roland there, he said the safety car, which I thought was quite interesting, affected his race. And I thought the safety car might help him, but he said it was a bit of a detriment, which I thought was interesting. But I suppose with the added laps, if there was safety car was quite quick and we didn't get any added laps, he might have been all right.
I mean, it's irrelevant really, like whether it would have happened or not. I genuinely think that this is just what Formula E is nowadays. Like, if you are leading at the front of the field for so long, you will be at a severe disadvantage. And that's what I think what makes Sam's win in Sao Paulo even more impressive, is the fact that he led for most of that race, even though it didn't look like that he would. It looked like that he had fallen back, so he wouldn't have a chance to win. And then obviously the D rates that a few people had, but Mitch had, and Sam was able to get through. But it's very hard in this day and age, and we were even talking about it in Valencia in season 7, when Jake Dennis led from lights to flag, and that wasn't supposed to happen, and he went on to win, and from there went on to his championship charge. And it's, yeah, I think with Roland, it was just him being out front all that time. I think there was only one. The thing is, he took attack mode. I want to say it was lap 12, and then Gunther took his attack mode lap 13.
Yeah.
So he was only able to get that one lap of that advantage.
Lifting, coasting
behind. Yeah.
And you're using more energy at that point anyway because you're in 350. So
yeah.
Bit of a hard battle. But anyway, what we'll do then before we start taking some calls and getting your thoughts on the race, we'll just have a quick look at the championship standings. So Pascal Wehrlein, after all this, leads the way with 63 points. Nick Cassidy falls down mainly because of the Norman NATO situation, which was quite bizarre. Him getting a 5-second penalty, dropping out of the points, and then that 5-second penalty being taken back, and him finishing in 6th would then obviously allow Wehrlein to be championship leader. Otherwise, Cassidy would have remained championship standings. But look at Roland. You know, he's 3rd now, 54 points. He's right behind Jake Dennis with 53, just doing Jake Dennis things, the reigning champion at the moment. in the top 4 and again in the title fight. And there you go, Maximilian Gunther, 48 points. He's a little bit away, but in Formula E terms, that doesn't take too much to catch up, especially with Nick Cassidy lately not being able to really score the amount of points that he needs to. And Pascal Wehrlein hasn't quite been near the top. And Mitch Evans, though, just... Again, an accident, a bit too eager with the move, and he's down there on 39. And we talked about him, and we had him in the magazine saying, I said to him, like, was this his championship? Was this his year? And he's like, there's an element of that. But because, he can't think like that simply because, he's an athlete, you've got to take it race by race. I think that's the most famous saying. But who knows if Jaguar will have the best powertrain next season. So for Mitch Evans, this is a massive season. He kind of needs it to turn around. Then we've got John Eric Verne in 7th on 39, Sam Bird in 37, and the biggest surprise, I suppose, is how the Envisions have dropped off. But I suppose if you're thinking Jaguar haven't been 100% strong this season, so maybe Envision's drop is not as surprising as we first thought. So those are the championship standings. We've got Natalie, I believe, in the waiting room. Let's bring Natalie in before we get to the first break.
All right, there we go. We've got Natalie on.
Hi, Natalie. What do you want to say?
Right. Hello, boys.
How are we?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Yeah, alive.
Just want to touch on McLaren, really. That did not go their way at all, did it?
It's amazing.
No.
It's amazing what a weekend can do, right? The highs of Sao Paulo to the lows of Tokyo.
Like Sam Smith said on, I think it was either the race or his FE Notebook website, you can win one weekend and lose the next.
Yeah, it's that old saying that you're as good as your last performance. Like, where do you think it went wrong for McLaren?
It was interesting, really, because
by any chance?
Yeah, maybe. To quote Jake's radio. Palmer. Yeah. Well, it was a tale of two halves, really, because on Sam's side of the garage, it just wasn't going right from practice, really. And then Jake, Lucas crashed him into the wall. He had to pit for a new front wing, but he still got 14th.
Yeah, the safety car helped him at least get back into that race, because Sam was a lap down, but at least Jake was still on the lead lap, so that helped him kind of go through the field. So at least there's, I suppose, a small, no points, but small positives for Jake.
I was really surprised they didn't let Sam unlap himself.
Oh, I suppose. I suppose that's not a massive rule in Formula E. I don't think it is. I don't think, because it's such short races.
Yeah.
Suppose.
It's a very big rule in Formula 1, but that's because it's longer race and the field spread is a lot larger in F1 than it is in FE. But yeah, but obviously with Sam there was and this is something that we learned after the race through the team radio, is that his wheel wasn't attached properly.
No.
For a lot of that race. And he even came into the pits. I think he went back out again, and it still wasn't.
Yeah,
right.
They came into the pits, changed his wheel, and then he went back out again, a lap down.
Yeah. Still not right. What about Envision? Obviously, I know McLaren, not a great day. Envision, obviously, teams champions last season, struggling with the Jaguar powertrain this season. What do you put that down to? What's your perceptions?
It happened every year with the team, except for Techeetah. You win the championship one year, you're like in 6th or 7th the next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it depends, because Formula E is so close, right? Like, we're talking about this with Mitch Evans and saying, is this his season? But if you don't get a good qualifying result, then all of a sudden your race is all over the place. And I do think that's the same with Envision at the moment. They're just not getting qualifying 100% right.
No. I suppose with Robin back at the team, they're kind of there or thereabouts sometimes. But it just depends on the circuit, really, because tracks like Berlin and Mexico, they don't suit Envision at all.
Yeah.
But when you get to places like London, where Nick Cassidy won last year and came within inches of the championship, It just makes you think: is it the car or is it the driver?
Wow, this is what I was going to say. Do you think that with Formula E and Nick Cassidy, and knowing how good Nick Cassidy is, do you think last season kind of showed how good Nick Cassidy was, considering that Envision can't fight at the front like they were doing last season with Cassidy?
It depends, really, because you've got veterans like Seb. Robin's back with the team this year, so he's back with a team that he knows, a car that he's somewhat familiar with, and yeah, it's a different powertrain, but maybe, maybe with him having a year at Apt with a different powertrain, constantly being at the back, maybe that's knocked Robin a bit, if that makes sense, with his confidence and stuff like that.
Potentially, it's a good argument.
Also, he had that injury in the first half of
He
last
missed
season.
like 4 races with a broken hand as well,
Yeah.
so could that have knocked his confidence?
Yeah,
We don't know, do we?
It could have. It could have. Go on, Jack.
He did have a podium in Syria.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
Seb had a
P2, I think it was.
Seb had a podium in Mexico. I've just got the results up. And Robin got a second and Syria too. And I have to apologise. Earlier I said Max got a podium in Mexico.
I thought he got a point. I thought he got a points finish.
And Toby, for me, Formal Deep, called me out in the chat. He finished 4th. I think he was running 3rd for a lot of the race, and then Cassidy got him in the last few laps.
Yeah, Nick. I think Nick got him in
where
the.
I got a little bit confused. So yeah, no, I'll hold my hand up there, and thanks for Toby for calling me out. So
I think Nick got him in the section, didn't he?
Yeah, I want to talk about Jake Hughes very quickly, going back to McLaren slightly, because obviously he had such a great start to life at McLaren last season, and Sam Bird's got the first win. We thought Jake Hughes was probably going to be the one to get that first win, and I don't know, it's still early days, but do you think for Jake that it's just, I don't know, do you want more from him? Do you think that there's a result coming? Like, what do you think's gone wrong? Because he's dipped a little bit.
You know what? Sam's had 10 years in the championship. Jake's had 2. I just think it's getting to know Formula E more as a championship rather than a race as such. Because yes, while Sam's had a couple of difficult years, he's come back to McLaren with an engineer he knows very well. He knows Ian James as well. And he's, with Laney, he can get more out of it than Jake can, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I do feel that with I think that if you're working with someone that you know really well, it automatically becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah,
and that's I don't think that's just driver team related. I think it stretches across all things. I have always said that Ant Davidson gets the best out of Crofty when they do Sky Sports Formula One commentary. I think it's because they go back to the Radio 5 Live days.
Yeah.
But whenever Ant Davidson's on commentary with Crofty just comes alive a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's the same. It's the same for most sports, isn't it? The environment makes a massive difference, right? And that affects your performance.
Yeah, like I've said on FE Bar previously, those 2 years with Sam at Jaguar, he just wasn't seeming himself. And the fact he had to miss Seoul in season 8 because he broke his hand, I think that knocked him a little bit as well.
Yep, 100%. Right, Natalie, feel free to come back on a little bit later if you want to come back on. We're going to call it there for now, but thank you so much. Actually, Natalie, no! Easter eggs! How could I forget my own show? Easter eggs. How many Easter eggs have you eaten already? Come on, just any Easter eggs? Do you have any Easter eggs?
I had 1 egg off my grandma. I've got a box of chocolates off my auntie.
Lovely.
And we did an Easter egg hunt yesterday.
Nice.
So I had 2 small eggs filled with mini eggs. I've ate them. And then I've got a cream egg left, and I've had a Kit Kat bunny too.
Oh,
so
lots and lots and lots of chocolate. Any April Fool's jokes? Fallen for any? Created any today? Any havoc created by you, Natalie, today?
no.
No
'Cause
havoc.
I've been working, so.
No tricks at work.
But
No tricks at work. Not like a cheeky little April Fool's trick at work.
No.
No.
What I will say before I go is watch Jake and Alan's radio under the safety car. Those jokes were
Yeah.
so awful,
God.
Yeah,
so
I haven't
funny
seen
at
them,
the
but they
same
were funny.
time.
They were funny.
Dear.
They were
That is
funny.
awful. Yeah, no, they were
So
awful.
Oh, but they're
awful.
supposed to be poor, aren't they? That's the whole point, right? That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Right then, Natalie, thank you so much. As I said, if you want to come on a little bit later, you are more than welcome to. For us, we're going to take a little couple of minute break. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk Lola after the break. So if you want to come in and make a call and tell us, who do you want in the car? Basically, that's what we want to know. Who do you want in the car? If you've got 2 drivers you want to put in the car for Lola next season, who are you putting in? Right, and that could be anyone. Let's try and keep them to non-Formula E drivers. Let's try and make maybe past Formula E drivers that are not in and drivers who are not on the grid. Let's see what interesting names we can come up with. We'll have a chat too, but we'll see you in a couple of minutes as we just take a short break. Hello, Den. Right, we are back. We are back. We've had a little stretch as we head towards the end of the first hour. We want to talk Lola because, well, we were supposed to have Mark Preston on, weren't we, Mr. Pickering? Right? Who is the team
so
principal.
Rewind a bit.
Rewind a
to
bit.
that big long gap
Yes.
between races, and we announced that Mark Preston was going to come on the FE bar, like Tom Brook did a few weeks ago, and chat to us about all things Formula E. And then at the 11th hour, we got a.
Can't do this. Really sorry.
Yeah, we got told we couldn't. It wasn't happening.
But which is fine. And now we know why, really, because he was very coy on why he couldn't do it. And I think reading
our own Ed Hunter lied to us.
Yes, very true. But I'm happy because I suppose we know now, right? Okay, cool, right? Effectively, he was going to come on. We were going to talk a tiny bit about Lola. But to be honest with you, we didn't know Lola were going to join. I don't think many people knew Lola were going to join Formula E. But I always thought in the back of my mind, with Mark Preston going there, that he would want to get back in, and he couldn't keep Czech Teacher alive. So going to Lola and getting them in for season 11, I think it was more than likely that this was something that was going on in the pipeline. But we are talking to Mark, and fingers crossed. Because he said he'd come on. So now that the announcement is done, we have messaged him, and he has messaged us back. So we're just going to try and see if we can spot a little date, and we can find out a little bit more, hopefully in the future, about the Lola announcement and exactly what is happening there. I got very confused, and I've just figured it out now, because I was like, hold on, Yamaha are making a powertrain, right? They've teamed up with Yamaha, right? And I thought that Apt for some reason
I had to explain this to him while we were off.
Yeah, I was like, hold on, I'm really confused. I was like, yeah, because Apt's a customer team. Oh yeah, Apt's a customer team. I thought, because you see Cupras on the car, right? And I was like,
yeah,
and in the road, sorry.
We all thought was going to happen.
So we thought
Cooper were coming in for season.
Yeah,
11,
that's what we thought. We thought Cupra was going to happen, right? And they would power Apt, and they would be a new manufacturer. But it looks like that's not happening at the precise moment. And the rumors are that effectively that Yamaha could power Apt. This is one of the early rumors at the moment. So, because Mark Preston said,
it will be known as a Lola, but they have a so. Right, I feel like I'm having to explain this to you again.
Okay,
so,
just go for it. Explain to the world what's going on.
Lola and Yamaha are teaming up to create a power unit that's probably going to be in the back of the Apt.
Yes, correct. This is what we've established.
That is what's happening. It's probably going to be called a Lola. There will probably be a Yamaha badge
sticker on
somewhere next to the word Lola, and
it's a Lola Yamaha.
Yeah.
I still associate Yamaha with motorcycles though, so it's really difficult to get my head around.
Yeah, no, they create motorcycles and pianos. That's what they do.
Yeah. So as I said, we want you to come on. If you'd like to come on, and just tell us who you'd like to have in the car for next season with Lola. That would be pretty cool. I honestly, Pico, I've got no idea. The first name, I'm just trying to think of people who I think were quick in F2. That haven't got a chance in F1, and I'm thinking like a Frederick Vesti maybe. Can you tempt him away? I know he's got reserve driver roles at Mercedes, but no one wants to be a reserve driver. Like, or is he gonna? Go on. I was gonna say Andre Lotterer because he's got a working relationship, and does Andre get back into the seat? Imagine that. No, not allowed.
He's Porsche.
He is Porsche.
Why would he go to Lola?
I don't know, because he's got a relationship with Mark Preston. That's why.
Yeah, no.
Mark's like, come.
Yeah, I think for me it's really disappointing that they aren't going to be a factory team. I would have loved for them to be the 12th team in Formula E, and we'd be back up to 24 cars again, and it would be fantastic. And there'd be more seats, more excitement, and everything, etc. Because 12 teams is a nice number. F1, your move. It would have been quite nice for them to be the 12th outfit, but they're not. So we're still with 22 seats on the grid, and right now there isn't really room at the inn. Everyone's sort of performing really well.
Yep.
The only one who's I've been disappointed by Dan this
Ticked 'em.
season. Yeah.
We could have a
he's-
whole show on Dan Tickton, I feel.
And the thing I'm saying this, and Helen, don't be mad at me. But yeah, because I love Tickton to bits as well. Like he is one of my favorite people to interview. He is so funny. He says it how it is, and yeah, it's like genuinely you can ask him like the simplest question and he will speak for England, and it's great. But there are only 22 seats on the grid, and if you sort of underperform, and if someone jumps in at the rookie test, someone performs well in Berlin, because there are going to be 5 new drivers on the grid in Berlin, more than likely, then they've got to be considered for a seat next season. And so you look at people like Dan, Jahan's still learning, Nick and Edo are struggling a bit with Mahindra, but that's a long game sort of thing.
Yeah, those two are locked in.
Every seat is sort of like there's no room at the inn. So right now for F2 drivers to even think about Formula E, I think they have to think about Formula E in 2 seasons' time when Gen 4 comes in, because I think with Gen 3 Evo there isn't any room.
I suppose, but then, well, Lola got to pick 2 drivers from somewhere, right? They've got to find 2 drivers.
No, they
Not?
don't.
Am
No.
I confused then? What's going on?
No.
They're not a car. Am I
No.
lost this? Have I lost this?
No,
They're not.
Oh, Jack.
Oh, for God's
They're
sake.
not a team.
They're not a team.
Apt is the team.
Apt is the team. Oh, okay. I've lost that. I thought they were
Apt is
coming
the-
in.
Oh my God, Jack! Come
They were
on.
coming in with their own team. I thought that was a
No.
whole announcement. Oh, I
No.
misread that.
This is
Terrible
what
from
I
me.
just said.
No, you didn't.
I swear we've explained
Okay.
this a few
I
times.
was so
There is
confused. I was like, hold
Lola
on.
There
There's
is
a
no
car.
Lola Formula E team.
I saw the car. Oh, I got confused with the words.
No, there isn't a car.
There's not a car. I just saw
No,
the livery.
That's a nice special livery that they put out for the announcement. There is no Lola Formula E team.
Oh, that's...
The Lola power unit.
So
is
there's just a
going
power
in the
unit.
back.
Oh, I've completely
Yes.
confused. Why didn't you tell me in the
power
production meeting when I was like, this is what I want to say? You didn't say anything.
told you.
It's all right.
You're in the break.
Never mind.
Anyway,
anyway.
someone come in and explain to Jack everything.
Never mind.
Oh,
I misread that press release. I saw the car and I was like, hold on, this is really cool. I love that livery. And now I can see it in chat. I can see it in chat like, no IKEA livery. The IKEA livery was it was the best livery. It would have been the best livery on the grid. Get in the team. Anyway, right.
This is being clipped and put on YouTube Shorts, isn't it?
Probably. I can't believe I got so confused, and I can't believe no one's told me. Never mind. I've read it like 3 times as well.
Sorry, I've just missed the chat for the last couple of minutes.
I've read it like 3 times. But anyway, Lola, really cool.
Right.
But then,
Yeah,
you know what? I suppose
Mark Preston will be so disappointed in you all when he comes on.
Yeah, I know, he
Definitely
will be. He will be
explain it
disappointed.
to you.
Well, at least he's not here to explain it. Well, he probably would have explained it better. But I suppose where I got confused is because obviously Apt have got their team, right? And I suppose Apt have got their team, right?
They do.
Apt have got their team, and for me, Mark Preston, right? He's a team principal, right? He runs a team, and unless he's going to become like a co-team principal with Apt, then it's interesting. I'm wanting to see what Mark Preston's role will be within, because as I said, he's so synonymous with Formula E by being in charge. He's been in charge of a Formula E team until he left, basically, with Tech Cheetah, and I thought this was his way back in. So interesting to see. It is way back in, but I wonder what his role will be. That's what I mean.
It's a bit like when I think it was like 2014, 2015 when you had Cyril Abitbol just standing in the back of the Red Bull garage in a Renault shirt.
Yeah.
That's sort of the vibe we're going for here. Is that, yeah, he will be probably at the races, probably in the back of the Apt garage, wearing a Lola t-shirt is what we're going for. That's the vibe.
Yeah. Well, he's in the paddock. Put it that way. He's back in the paddock. Sorry for the confusion there. I got that totally wrong, and that's on me. But I can't read clearly. I got too excited. I saw a car. I went, "Oh, pretty new team!" And
I got excited, and then I read the press release.
I did as well, but I obviously
unexcited.
Obviously, I didn't read it properly. Oh well, never mind. We live to fight another day. What time is it? We got
5 minutes.
We got 1 or 2 minutes before we go to a break, and then we bring in Nick Golding from Racing News 365. Let me get his team right.
Good luck. But if you're not on the Discord, join the Discord. There is a link.
There is a link. There is a link in the thingamabob. The Nightbot thing isn't.
The waiting room. Ed Husser will greet you, and there's far worse people we greeted by.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we'll bring you probably straight in.
We got Nick Golding coming up in 5 minutes to talk everything Tokyo E-Prix, latest news. So yeah, looking forward to hearing to him in a couple of minutes time, and we will see you soon. and we are back for hour 2 of the FE Bar, and we are joined. Let's get his lower third up, because otherwise we'll never get his lower third up. It
We can't
is.
do it 2 streams in a row.
Yeah, I can't do it. Well, I got it up last time. So we're joined by Nick Golding, Racing News 365, jingle in the making. For, what was it? What was it? Golding Gossip?
Golding's
Golding's Gossip.
Is that what we're going for? Golding's
That's what
Gossip.
I don't know. I like the alliteration.
The GG.
GG's.
Was there a better option? I can't remember.
No,
I'll be honest.
that was the only one that came in Discord. So if you're in the Discord, whatever you want to call this little segment with
I'll take
Nick
anything.
Golding,
Yeah.
as long as it's not rude, because we love Nick here.
Thanks very much.
He's come to save me.
Yeah, he's come to say it because I'm having a nightmare.
Yeah.
But Nick, I suppose we'll start by talking about the track. We'll talk about the track in Tokyo, because I thought it was a proper Formula E track. I was delighted to see a street track effectively, and not what we're going to go and see a lot of very soon in racetracks. And it just felt like an old-fashioned. It felt Formula E.
I think you've summed it up. It felt old-fashioned. That's my kind of first thoughts when I saw the circuit. It had a mix of everything. You had Sector 1 was very tight and technical with a nitro jump, it seemed. You then had the middle sector was more high speed. The chicane for turns 10 and 11 I thought was stunning. And then you had the last sector again became more technical. And actually, I think that the race was quite good. There does need to be some work to the circuit. I think that's quite clear that the ramp on the exit of turn 2 is just asking for trouble in future years. And the amount of moments we saw. But I think the layout itself works. All they need to do is perhaps with the first sector, maybe try and widen it if they can, and see if they can flatten the jump. But apart from that, I think they've got a bit of everything, because the drivers showed that overtaking was possible. It resulted in good racing without the peloton really having an effect, which was good to see. And it was more of almost a traditional race, actually, because it was a circuit that merited bravery, pushing to the limit. And for those that made a mistake, it was, massively costly. The big change, someone said the pit lane. Yeah, the pit exit does need something to be done to it. I will comment, though, on that. The big thing with that caught out a lot of drivers is the fact that, FP1 and FP2, that start-finish straight, which had held so much water. As soon as it became dry, it wasn't a problem. So if it's going to be dry in the future, I think it'll be okay, because the drivers will have more grip going to the corner. If it's going to be wet, then something needs to be done to it, but I don't know what they could do. The only thing I was thinking of is perhaps the pit could actually come out, where is it? 1, 2, come out at turn 4 where attack mode was. But to be honest, though, the amount of hype around Tokyo, they've gotten the event done. I think it was a success. Seeing the Nissan flags, I thought was brilliant. That was proper, Japanese fan base. I thought that's exactly what we needed. And the guests we had there as well, the promo, the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift promo Effie did, I think was the best Effie promotion I've ever seen. So I think it's a success. Yes, there's room for improvement, but actually the main thing is at least it gave us a good race.
Yeah, it did give us a good race, I must admit. Right. I'll come back to you on something. I've forgotten what I was going to ask you, but I'm going to go to the next thing on my list.
I will say to Nick, were you delighted that you weren't there Friday morning when everyone was doing their track walk?
The amount of people I spoke to who were saying that they went there in, baggy outfits and stuff, and it looked like they were wearing linen by the end of it. It was, the rain was meant, it was like a mini monsoon. But I was gutted I wasn't there. Thankfully, I'm now at every race except for Shanghai, unless I change my mind or
something
Racing News 365 be like, you know what, Nick, actually we will do China. But yeah, no, so I'm looking forward to getting back in the paddock, and actually that reminds me of something I'll mention towards the end before you guys kick me off.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the amount of people kept saying to me, oh, Nick, you're not in Tokyo. So yes, I'm not in Tokyo. Thank you for reminding me for the 50 millionth time. And all the pictures as well on social media, it just looked like an unbelievable event. The hype was real. The advertising in the city was phenomenal. And it just seemed like Japan really embraced Formula E.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's what I was going to say. Like, the Nissan at the start of the race, you could hear the Japanese fans like go Nissan go, like whatever they were saying. It was brilliant. I was like, wow. It reminded me of, in the MotoGP. So in MotoGP, you would have had the Valentino Rossi or Marc Marquez or Ducati grandstands, and it just reminded me of that. And I was like, that's pretty cool, and it could be something that we could see more. Like, I don't know if the Germans would go Audi go, or go app go. But
to be honest, the closest we've had, I think, is possibly London last year, where the fans at least were kind of encouraged to the chanting, whereas this was completely off their own back.
Yeah.
But I thought it was brilliant, and exactly like I just said, they embraced the sport. They clearly enjoyed it. To see the number of fans already there early in the morning for FP2.
Yeah,
we've all been to enough races where we have seen quite literally the only people in the paddock for FP2 normally, if it's at 7 a.m. in the morning, is the journalists, and half the time even the journalists aren't there. To see so many fans there, I thought, you know what, they really care about this.
Yeah, Germany and London are the only two. I remember queuing up to get into the track, and what annoyed me in Berlin one season was that the session had already started. The fans were queuing up, but they weren't allowed in because the track didn't open till 8. But then the session didn't start, but started at like 7:30. That annoyed me. I was like, if they're there now, the session starts at 7:30. Let them in. We don't open till 8. That annoyed me one year. But I also think London's very good with that too.
British Grand Prix Sunday, I know that gates open at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Because we have to, because there is usually a queue by the time the museum opens at 8 on British Grand Prix.
Yeah, and it's the same. It's the same with, I would say, different with Diriyah. Whereas, what frustrates me with Diriyah, as much as it's a brilliant track and I really like the track in Diriyah, you're watching qualifying and you're watching practice, and that grandstand is empty. Then you don't even know if anyone's in it come the race because it's pitch black and you can't see anyone inside that grandstand.
It's Saudi, there's no one there.
There clearly is, because the stage and for the concerts were.
Yeah.
It was mental. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Everyone's at the stage. It's exactly what I did. I did that in Battersea. I think I was supposed to be standing at that. Would have been turn 4-5. Turn 4-5 chicane. And actually, I bailed before the race even started to go to the podium. So I thought there's a better chance.
I thought you were going to say the pub.
I was going to say Bell left it. Nah.
I did go to the pub afterwards. I was only 17 at the time, so I could only have a Coke. But that is
good boy. Good boy.
That's me. That's me for Berlin race 1. Straight to find somewhere for Eurovision. If there's anyone in the chat who has any recommendations on where to watch Eurovision in Berlin, I will really appreciate it. That's I'm giving myself a month to find that. But the thing is, talking about the fans, we actually saw, there was actually a press release, and for those who haven't seen it, I did write a piece on it. F1 is seeing still massive growth, both on social media, both in the TV viewing figures. People are buying TNT Sports despite the paywall, which is a good thing. It's showing that, whilst the price is too high, people are invested enough in F1 to pay the figure. We can argue all day about the paywall, but ultimately it's here. It's been put in place so F1, and it is going to be. There was only so much F1 could do on Channel 4. Channel 4, it was more beneficial to them to re-air, the previous night's episode of Hollyoaks. Exactly.
Got priority over Formula E,
which was mad.
So, and the thing is, even at circuits, we're seeing, more people attending the races. And there was actually, I think, it was a 12% increase in the attendances at the circuit for the first few races this season compared to last year. This is excluding Tokyo, by the way, but we can, pretty much predict that that's going to be massive figures. I remember seeing in Diriyah, the amount of people that were at the concert and were still there till the early hours of the morning was nuts. Even Sao Paulo, I've never seen something quite like it. The grid was the busiest that I've ever been on. And the thing as well, it's also gaining the attention now of the likes of Bernie Eccleston, who previously, as I spoke a couple of weeks ago, was calling us lawnmowers. He's there, and even he said, actually, what, I was wrong, he did quite good. So we're at a really interesting point now where Formula E is growing.
It is growing, 100%.
And the thing is, though, and this is why we're then getting more critics, the F1 ultras, I call them, who the more they complain about FE, is because they're starting to realise actually this sport is growing quite quickly. Everyone thought this sport would die after one race, let alone one season, but it's
Almost
still
did.
here, and it's getting faster.
Miami
Yeah.
was everyone left Miami going like, well, we might see you again.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, we are growing, and then this is, it's. I think it's such an exciting time for Formula E because it's only going to go one way. Yes, there are things with the paywall that need to be figured out. For example, obviously they do use the World Freedom for pretty much every broadcaster last weekend. It seemed cut out before the podium, which was really odd. That wasn't a TNT Sports problem. That was a Formula E World Feed problem, which was literally experienced across the globe. So there are teething problems, but there's a product here that can be worked with, and I think TNT, with the advertising they're doing as well for Formula E, is a sign that actually that's a partnership which can work. They've just got to figure out a way to get around the big figure to get the broadcast.
They're doing Formula E adverts during everything. Champions League, MotoGP, boxing, everything. They're putting Formula E adverts in everything.
Yeah,
which is good.
I don't think I really saw one Formula E advert on Channel 4.
Exactly.
I never did.
Excited when I saw Formula E advert back on ITV back in 2014, 2015, and that was it. I think putting it onto TNT Sports is a necessary evil. They should have created a highlights package for ITV or Channel 4 or BBC.
Yeah,
or
maybe that would have been a good idea.
Quest. Put it on Quest. It's part of the same bubble.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah.
But then supposedly though, if you do put a highlights package, then less people are inclined to buy TNT Sports because they'll just wait for the free package. And I suppose
I will
Formula E
say
kind of
though,
want that.
so because where I work at Silverstone, there are quite a lot of people who love motor racing, and they really like Formula E. And they said to me in January, I can't seem to find Formula E anywhere.
Yeah.
I had like 3 or 4 different people who I worked with going, I can't find Formula E anywhere.
Yeah.
And I did say, yeah, it's gone behind the paywall, but you'll be able to watch it in a week. But even then,
yeah, it's not great.
It's not great.
I want to move on just so we don't get too British centric on
yeah, sorry, worldwide FE bars, sorry.
The worldwide FE bars.
Yeah.
Go on, let's get more global.
So I want to talk about let's go back to the race because I said earlier to Pico with Roland and throwing it away, and I understand that it kind of worked for Roland, that he kind of salvaged his race. It's a bit of a shame really that you're leading the race and you because of the way Formula E is, you can't maybe do a lights to flag finish unless it's like a Mexico and the energy is basically a flat out race. But if it's not going to be a flat out race, then doing a lights to flag is very unlikely. Do you think he threw it away, or do you think he could have done what I said a bit earlier with the Alan Prost thing and just drive slower and just try and save at the right times and bring the pace down?
I'll be honest, I don't think he did anything wrong. I think he was just, as he mentioned after the race, he was just done over basically by the safety car. He actually was managing the race really well. Had there not been the safety car, he was managing his energy enough so that he would have made it to the end and with enough, for a bit of a push in the last 2 or 3 laps, which would have probably fended off Gunter. Ultimately, what let him down was the safety car, and it allowed those behind him to suddenly, preserve enough energy. We saw Gunter then basically just breeze past because Roland could do nothing. So, it was really frustrating for Roland because he's driving so well. That's 3 podiums on the bounce now, 2 pole positions in the last 3 races. And, Nissan have got that powertrain finally working. We saw glimpses through McLaren at the start of season 9. We saw glimpses through Nissan at times, particularly towards the end of the season. They've now shown over all style of races and different style of circuits, actually, their car can genuinely compete with the Jaguars and the Porsches. The same with Stellantis, although we're weirdly seeing the Stellantis powertrain performing better in Gunter's hands than in Stoff's and Jeff's, which is quite interesting. And actually, I think Gunter is at the moment the best Stellantis power driver. Mm-hmm. He came into the season with a lot of confidence. He proved in Jakarta just how good he is. And for me, he judged Tokyo perfectly. His strategy was spot on. He timed his attack modes to perfection, which also played a really critical part in his win. And ultimately, it come the end, Roland just didn't have the energy because of the safety car, whereas Gunter was, because obviously he reserved some in the slipstream. So it was just one of those, to be honest. I think, Roland, he could have done it had there not been a safety car, but unfortunately there was. So that's motorsport.
It is motorsport. I want to talk about Nick Cassidy as well, because obviously a bit unlucky in qualifying, because, he's so consistent and he is so good, and he had that bad race last time in Sao Paulo, and he kind of didn't need this for him just having that spike of power and losing his lap time.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Jake Dennis's start to last season. He started off so consistent and so strong, then went on a bit of a bad rut. Nick's kind of going the same way. He started obviously with 3 podiums on the bounce, and obviously the victory in Diriyah. He then had the crash in Sao Paulo. He's now had a low points finish in Tokyo. Yeah, qualifying was unfortunate. That was just typical FE. It happens sometimes, especially when you've got a bumpy circuit like it is. It just the chances of an overpower or an energy spike are just higher.
Yeah.
We saw some pictures of the jump in particular, all 4 wheels going off the ground. This is a WRC stage at times.
Yeah.
But but then he showed as well that the Jaguar powertrain was actually working quite well at Tokyo. He breezed his way through the field, and even Mitch was looking okay as well until he got stuck trying to pull off a couple of overtakes. So he drove well. I still think he's a favourite for the championship quite clearly. He's in a bit of a rut at the moment. But we now go to Misano, where Misano's going to be a really interesting one. Yeah, Misano's going to be a weird one because I know we're still over a week away. The weather's currently saying rain on one day.
Oh, here comes Nick Golding's weather report every day.
Like I said, there's going to be daily weather reports. We've got to do it. Well, it's saying that. Well, I'm more worried because, as I was saying to you guys off air, the hotel I've got is a 30-minute walk to the circuit. Fantastic! I can walk 30 minutes, and 7 in the morning. That will stretch my legs. Get some fresh air.
I do that for quite a few races.
But they've also offered the hotel. The hotel I'm staying at, family run. They seem really friendly, and I've had like 3 texts now saying they can offer me a bicycle. Which, yeah, brilliant. I'll ride a bicycle to the circuit in the morning. But if it's pissing it down with rain, which is meant to do on Saturday,
you know what your problem is? Where are you going to put that bicycle? Then someone's going to nick it.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Can I do laps of the track?
Am
I just going to take the bike to the media centre?
Yeah, bring.
I'm more thinking I need a helmet, like Mr. Bean's holiday. But it's so I'll start doing daily weather reports and putting them on either Instagram or Twitter or X. Sorry.
Yeah, and let's see if you get it right this time.
Yeah, we'll see. You can't be more wrong than Brazil. That was just a shocker, wasn't it? That was awful. What were we talking about again? I've gone off track completely.
We talked about Cassidy, but I want to.
Yeah, he did well. Good recovery. Move on.
We'll talk about the championship with Pascal Wehrlein.
Hold on, go on, Pico.
I just want to say, have you heard anything about attack charge? Because obviously you've been on site. Anything?
So nothing from Berlin. I know you've asked that, but I spoke to Ian James and James Barkley and Nick, and they were both in the dark, it seemed, about attack charge, still thinking that it was going to happen, but nothing, no new information since Valencia, basically.
I do know a bit. It basically depends on who you ask. If you ask some drivers, they say, yeah, bring it in. If you ask others, they will say there's no point, wait till next season. This was meant to be introduced now at the start of season 9. We're now, what month are we on? April Fools. By the way, completely going off topic, I hate this day so much. The amount of, as a journalist, it is the most painful thing because you see rumours and you see loads of people retweeting it, thinking it's real, which then makes me think it's real. And then before I go like a right mug in my work group chats, I then realise it's April Fools. What was the one about Max Gunter missing Misano or something because he fell over on the podium? That was brilliant, by the way.
It was good. That was from me. That was from me.
That
news.
was.
Toby's in chat.
Well, former boss, former.
I hate this day. I'll be glad when.
But the one that got me, which I thought was fake, but then wasn't fake, was the MotoGP one with Liberty Media. Like that, I was like, hold on, is that fake? Is that real? I was a bit unsure on that one.
I sat in the investors' call, but anyway, so attack charge. Right, okay. Do we get back on topic?
Yeah, go back to attack charge.
The one's been blown for a couple of weeks, so I knew that.
Yeah, but it was just as a neutral. I was like,
I had a few messages going. Is that one an April Fool's or is it? No, it's real. Sorry, continue.
Right, attack charge. Okay, what I'll do. So as I said, my personal opinion, I'll get onto in a second. basically, it depends who you ask. Some say, yeah, it might still happen, and we're happy for it to happen. Others will say, I'm not going to say names either, but others are saying it's not a chance. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be too unpredictable. It needs to be thoroughly tested. There's still some drivers who haven't even tested it yet. And again, I can't say who. In my opinion, I don't see it happening this season because we now go, and also I don't know if the person who put it in the Discord is actually in the chat, but they put the races we've got coming up. We've obviously got the doubleheader in Misano.
Mm-hmm.
We've then got Monaco, and then we've got the doubleheader in Berlin. So literally from now until, in the next, 5-6 weeks, we've got 5 races.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, by the time we get to the end of Berlin, that's what round, one of you can help me, what round will Berlin race 2 be?
Round 5 was Tokyo, so round 6,
So 10.
7, 8, 9, 10.
So 8.
So Berlin is 9 and 10. It's not going to be in by Berlin, quite obviously. It's just not going to happen because they'll need to do a couple of sessions at least in FP1 with it. The issue is then, okay, you've only got 6 races left. That's then, over 50% of the championship done. Can you take the risk of it potentially impacting the championship? If they think they can introduce it without it impacting the championship, then fair play. But personally, I think whilst it's frustrating and whilst it doesn't paint the best picture for the sport, I think the best thing is to wait until season 11. We've seen in Formula E before things get introduced and not particularly go well.
Yeah.
They need to get this right. I've said this before, a couple of months ago on here.
Yeah,
they have to get it right.
James
if it goes
Barkley,
wrong,
me and James said the same.
And my big fear is, what happens if it's introduced, it goes wrong, and that then decides who wins the championship.
Yeah.
It's a hard one for FE because we're trying to be fresh, we're trying to be new, we're trying to be innovative and introduce what is phenomenal technology. It really, really is, but it has to be done at the right time. It's got to be for me. It's got to be the start of season 11. Fresh cars, introduce it. It gives you more pre-season testing. It gives you pretty much the entirety. Okay, not the entirety because who knows? Potentially we might have season 11 starting this year. Who knows? I'm not saying nothing. But yeah. Nick Golding can't comment. Lawyers will not be involved.
Well, yeah, that's the rumor, isn't it? With Los Angeles
doesn't exist.
Anyway.
My poker face doesn't exist.
Yeah,
so...
I'm not very good at poker face too.
Nick Golding cannot be hiring a lawyer.
Yeah, last couple of things before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening. I suppose the
championship.
championship.
Nice. An extended version of Golding's gossip. It's been fun.
It's been good. Verline, top of the table, as it's very close though with Cassidy, and I suppose Gunther as well. He's making a small little comeback. I thought maybe by Misano we might have a clearer picture of who our championship protagonist might be, but I don't think that is the case now.
It's Formula E, right? When do we ever get a clear picture of who's going to win the championship?
But I think last season we had a clear picture. I do think last season we did.
But you can't. How can you say that? Jake Dennis went on, several races of scoring nothing.
He was.
But you knew Jake was still in it, and you knew Nick was still in it, and you knew Mitch. You knew it was going to be one of them. You knew it was Nick, Mitch, or Jake.
You know he was still in it, but we still entered London with technically London race 1 with 4 drivers being in the fight. So,
but it was the 4 that we expected.
We will probably know by end of Shanghai.
You think?
We're going to know. My prediction is we'll know by Berlin race 2 who's going to be in the fight. I think we're already seeing, odds on, Nick's going to be up there. Jake is going to be up there. Mitch will be up there because he's been quick every circuit. He's just had some really crap luck this season, which kind of sums up his Formula career, to be honest. Max for me is the dark horse. Pascal, with Jaguar, with Porsche, it's been really, really weird this season because actually, whilst he's had a worse start to season 10 than he did in season 9, obviously Pascal won 2 of the opening 3 races last season. He did the Diria double. Love saying that. He's more confident this year and he's actually driving more consistently. He's also been the best Porsche in qualifying, which is crazy because last season Porsche couldn't qualify. Yeah, he's got 2 pole positions this season. I don't think he'll win the championship. I think he'll be in the fight, but Porsche just seem to be struggling with progress in the race this year because last season, typically when the Porsches, whether that be Andretti or the factory squad, whenever they qualified well, you always knew they were going to finish on the podium because they just had the best efficiency
Yeah.
and they just simply breeze through the field. We're not seeing that this year. You know, you had Jake and Pascal both started in the top 6, yet obviously Pascal finished, what was it, 5th, and Jake finished obviously on the podium. So, you know, whilst Jake made a bit of progress, it's not the amount I was expecting, and I think a lot of that is because the gap has closed. You know, it's very much now the Nissans can compete with them, so can, I say Stellantis, but I think actually only Maserati can compete. I don't think DS can. I think DS just seem to go missing in the races. They seem to be good over qualifying. You know, we've seen Jev make several dual appearances this season, but they seem to just fade away during the races. But I think by Berlin, because then we've had so many different style of circuits, that's then 10 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we know that Portland's going to be a
mess.
Portland's going to be, honestly,
Don't be
one that
lied, don't say what we were thinking.
I know Portland's going to be one that I'm going to be taking a pack of beers into the circuit, because that's going to be a long old day. Sorry, it's double header in it.
Yep, it is double header. I'm not looking forward to that finishing at 2 a.m. in the morning.
No.
And then...
Right, but this is the crazy thing.
Struggling to stay awake during Portland.
But it's the crazy thing, though, because with London, because of the style of circuit and that overtaking is so difficult, we know that the chances are we're either going to have, like last season, race 1 being absolutely ridiculous because the only way to overtake was by ramming people into the wall, or we're going to see a boring race. And I think it's possibly going to be more the latter. Well, I reckon, whilst we won't have a champion decided before London, I think we will know who the champion is going to be heading into London, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
well, that's the sort
sense.
of vibe that we've had the last couple of seasons, because we went to Seoul knowing
Stuff was going to do it.
London going, Jake's going to do it, even though there was this championship fight. It's very weird. We've had the same thing happen 2 years in a row, where 4 drivers have headed into the final weekend of the year with a chance at the title.
Yeah.
One of them is leading by a considerable amount.
Okay.
Yeah, but then London would have been so different last year had Mitch not decided to launch himself over Nick and become even closer friends. So
very true. Right, Nick, we're going to leave it there because I'm starting to love this community because the switchboard is lighting up and there is a number of people in the waiting room.
Can I then quickly say something there?
Yeah, of course you can.
What was I going to say? For those, so I've noticed there's quite a lot of people attending.
Related or?
No, God no.
He's just saying something. We don't know what he's going to say, but
it's not Lola related unless you want me to explain that for you.
No, we've gone through that. Let's put that to bed.
Okay, Lola are not a team.
Good.
Done.
Good.
No, basically for those, I've noticed there's quite a lot of fans who are attending obviously the European races, and it'd be great to actually meet a lot of the community on here. So for those that are interested, I'm thinking of potentially organising some sort of meet-up. Probably for all the European races, we'll start with Mazzano. If that's something that'd be of interest, I'm going to put it on Twitter as well. Let me know in the Discord chat if that's okay with you two. Because it'd be good, you know, it's all well and good, message each other in a Discord, but it'd be nice to, put what's the word?
Faces to names or names to faces.
Thank you, yeah. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, 100%, right?
The Eurovision party, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, as I said, and it's credit to, everyone that's in the chat right now, like this show is not possible without you. We had Natalie on now. We've got the chat board for the end of the show. Is great. We've got loads of people coming. I don't want to ruin it, but
I'm taking credit for that.
But it's amazing that we've got these people. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 2-minute break, right, for us to just have a quick drink, a quick stretch, and then we will literally run through for the next half an hour.
Just before we go, thank you for Ola in America for saying that we're going to know the championship contenders when we get to London. Right. See you after the break, everyone.
See you after the break.
Bye, guys. See you in Mazzano.
Okay, a quick stretch. Oh, look, his lower third's still there. Let's get rid of that. Nick's no longer with us, thankfully. Well, not thankfully, but he's no longer with us. He's enjoying, he's putting his feet up. He deserves to put his feet up after half an hour of grilling from us. I suppose it wasn't grilling, but it was a great little catch-up. So let's get to you, because that's what makes this show so special. It's talking to you lot. And we're going to start with Saz, because Saz has been in the waiting room for she came in just before Nick. She timed that to perfection. She was in first. So, Mr. Pickering, if you could pull up Saz, that would be amazing. Saz, welcome to the FE Bar. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good, very good. I'm glad to hear your voice again. What do you like to talk about?
Oh, well, good question. I just forgot. No, I remember. Well, although I could talk about Max Gunfer for the entire show,
well,
I think we should talk about Edo and
yes.
Edo and Nico.
Yep.
Underrated. I know he got disqualified.
Yep.
But what a drive by Edo.
It was brilliant. He was on the show list for us to talk about in this little section now, so it's a brilliant thing that you brought him up. Unlucky because it was a great show, and we've been seeing glimpses of it from Mortara throughout the whole season. Really good qualifying performances, just falling away in the race. But because Tokyo was a bit tighter, right, he was able to keep hold of those positions for longer, and he moved up into second. I thought it was a great drive from Mortara.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think the Tokyo track also suited because track position was so important that him doing a good qualifying meant that he could move up to second and he could stay in the points. Whereas maybe in a Sao Paulo situation where overtaking was a lot easier, he might have not. But I think, if he keeps getting it high in qualifying, he can. Oh, there's a cat! Yay!
Yes. Tigger's come to join me. Tigger, what do you think about the Tokyo E-Prix?
Yeah, tell us about Edo Miel Tower.
I'm not sure if he's going to appear in shot or not, because obviously it's a little bit condensed. But yes, no.
He is not in shot currently.
Yeah, no. But yeah, he will. Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, sorry.
Saz gets the full picture of you. I know. That's so privileged to get the full picture. There's a little bit of the cat.
Everyone listening, there's a cat, and I know you came here to speak about FE, but cats take priority.
The cat takes right over. In terms of Mortara, I know he's on a long-term deal, but we knew he was a good driver, right? At the time at Venturi, at Maserati, and he's proving it now. In terms of Nick de Vries, I know he's had a couple of years out. I'm in the camp where I think Nick de Vries will get back to that Eduardo Mortara level. Are you in that sort of conversation too, or do you think he might just keep struggling?
Yeah, I think Nick is very good. Obviously, he missed a lot of the Gen 3 car, but I think once he gets in, I think he just needs to get into the duels once and sort of get that confidence back, because we all know he can do it. Well, at least I'm in the camp. Camp, and I think also Edo's showing that it's done. Mahindra have seen it's done. They seem to be better at the race management, because they say it's a long-term project and they're trying to a long-term project, but obviously they are making progress. Nick thinks they're making progress. So I don't think it will be long before we see Nick in the duels, and I reckon once he gets that first duel on tracks that are suited to Mahindra, because it's not the best powertrain.
Yeah, 100%.
Nick will soon be up there with Edo.
Yeah, I'm fully in agreement with that. I know it's not the best powertrain at the moment, so it's a bit of a tricky situation to get hold of, whereas Mortara's been in it for a bit longer. So it's hard to judge Nick. You kind of you want to hope that he can take advantage of some points at some point.
I will say, wasn't it lovely to see Nick reunite with Yuki Tsunoda on the grid?
Yes.
That was a wonderful moment.
That was wonderful, especially as a lot of people in Formula One, people involved in the sport and fans, were very harsh on him. But Yuki was one who's always sort of realised, hey, Nick's got talent. Yeah, it didn't work out in F1, but it was so lovely to see them back.
It's a shame, really, that they didn't get Yuki to maybe test the Formula E car. And then, because it would have been really good to get a positive, would have been a really good marketing tool, I think, for Yuki to have driven it, said something positive about the series.
The guy from Fast and Furious did the run in the Gen 3 car, but I think it would have been very nice for Yuki to have done that as well.
Right, let's talk Maximilian Gunther then, because you said you talked the whole show about Maximilian Gunther, and I think we can't have you not talk about Max. And as you're on here, Can he win the title? Do you think can he keep the consistency going? Because that's the big question, right? If he can keep the consistency going, he's got a shot. If he can't, I don't think he does.
Yeah, I think he can keep the consistency going. Also think Maserati in general, despite all the problems they've had with personnel change and a very what's the word? A very up and down
turbulent time.
Off season. Turbulent, that's the word. You know, Max has scored points in 5 races, 5 different circuits. But he also gave a lot of credit to the team that how well they managed the race. So I don't see why he can't be in it. You know, he got 4th in Mexico. Syria wasn't that great. Sao Paulo was amazing. You know, getting 9th place with a penalty and with 2 penalties. And here he is. So I don't see why he can't be in the fight, because out of the top drivers so far, he's been the most consistent one.
Yeah, so hopefully for him, no bad days, because I'd like Gunther to keep doing well. And do you think it's interesting that he is the best of the Maserati drivers, considering the DS powertrain drivers, because you've got Jean-Eric Vergne and Van Dorn. Do you think are you surprised that Van Dorn and Vergne are struggling a little bit?
Yeah, they just haven't really. I'm really surprised, because we know they're good drivers. We've seen what they can do, and they just seem to be there. You know, they're not really making an impression. Yeah. So at the start of the season, I would not have. I would have put them as Jev, Stoffel. They're going to be going for the title, and or at least they're going to challenge for the high positions. So I'm surprised at how the two powertrains have had such different results.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I wouldn't have put Gunther as my title challenger. I would have put a Vergne or a Van Dorn, maybe more Vergne, because Van Dorn I think has been a bit hit and miss.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't have done that. Saying that like last season when you said that he was going to win the title, definitely, and you don't think he's a championship contender at all, do you?
No, I do think he's a championship contender. Every driver will say it, consistency is key in Formula E, and if he can stay consistent, he will. I don't think Gunther will win every race from now till the end of the season. I don't think he'll be in a position where he'll be winning races, but he'll be in a position where he'll be challenging for top 5. And if he keeps doing that, and then the Nick Cassidys, the Mitch Evans, the Pascal Wehrleins have those races where Max Gunther then scores a podium, Pascal Wehrlein 9th or 10th, it's a big chunk of points. And then by just being that super consistent, I think that is the only way Gunther can win the title. I don't see Gunther winning the title on raw pace. Not because he doesn't have any. I don't think the DS has the raw pace in it consistently to win, but it is consistent. But it does have the pace consistently. Challenge for a top 5. Would you agree with that, Saz?
I would agree with that. Yes.
100%.
Yeah, I think definitely challenger, and in a few years' time, we don't know how powertrains are going to go.
Exactly.
Definitely title.
Fingers crossed. Saz, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for waiting. I know you waited throughout that whole entire Nick segment, so I appreciate that.
No worries. Okay, well, happy April Fool's Day.
Happy April Fool's Day.
Thank you.
We'll bring Blake in now. New caller. It's always great to have fresh faces on the show.
I will say we are 1 hour 41, and we haven't even spoken about Antonio Felix da Costa.
I know. I wanted to talk about da Costa and him being upset with Roland, but so busy. Anyway,
but we're going to get Blake in now.
Maybe we'll ask Blake. We didn't even ask Saz about Easter eggs and April Fool's Days, but never mind. Blake, welcome to the FE Bar. What would you like to say?
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Excellent. What would you like to say?
I like to say many things. About I think this will be. I would like to say. I think Maxi Gunther.
Yes.
I think Gunther could have a good run on form until the end of the season, but I wouldn't say he would be in the mix for every single race. He'll be consistent, top 5, top 6, top 4. I think Gunther could be a driver who could be capable when let's say his teammate, drops out. I think Gunther could be the guy to pick up the pieces for Maserati.
Yeah, he 100%. I would agree with that. Like, yeah, Gunther's. He's a great driver, right? When he came in Dragon in season 5 and he made that appearance in Paris, and I was like, yeah, this guy, he's quick, right? He's got the potential. I just don't think the DS powertrain, as I said, is the strongest yet. I think the Porsche and the Jaguar powertrain at certain races will rise to the top, and the DS is a close contender, right? If they fail, Gunther's there, and Gunther's just got to be in that pound seat. And if he's in that pound seat every single race and he's not making mistakes, he'll have a chance at this championship.
Yeah, that's an absolute. I can probably agree with that as well. It's just like he needs to capture the right moments, because like last season he was a bit off consistency wise. He was consistent in Jakarta. He was great there, but last season he just failed to make that consistency work. I like to also want to give a shout out to Nico Muller.
Yep.
He is an absolute guy when it comes
point
to
scoring position.
I think. Yeah, because Nico Muller dragged that Cupra up to the points. I think even Lucas Di Grassi hasn't. Wait, has he even dragged up to the points?
No, I don't think so.
That Cupra.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Best result for Lucas is 13th in Sao Paulo. That is his season so far.
But yeah, so Nico Muller though,
Right.
is doing a great job, I must admit, and he's been doing a good job for a while.
I said last season he was best Mahindra driver and better than Lucas Di Grassi then, even though Lucas got that podium in Mexico.
Oh, Blake's deafened. Don't know what's happened there. But we were having a great conversation. He was doing such a good job. I wanted to ask Blake about the.
Something's probably happening.
Probably something. He's muted now. Hopefully he's back. Blake, can you hear us?
I'm alive.
Hello, you're alive. I wanted to ask you. We were just talking about it before you came on air about Antonio Felix da Costa and him kind of moaning slightly at Oliver Rowland. I thought Rowland didn't do much wrong, but da Costa seems very angry about it. What was your take?
I don't think I have. All I can say, I haven't watched fully the highlights, but I really should have. I really only saw the standings, a bit of the results, and a bit of the highlights. That's all I saw. But can you give me some added context of what's happened between Ollie and Da Costa?
Da Costa trying to pass him around the outside of turn. I think it's the same corner where Hughes was pushed 15. Into the wall. 15. Yep, around the outside of 15. And Rowland's held the inside line, hasn't really moved, and they've kind of converged on the exit. And Antonio thinks that Rowland has pushed him into the wall.
I think there is a difference between hard racing and clean racing. I think Ollie did some hard racing. I think I would like to convey my opinion. Yeah. I think Ollie did some hard racing. It's up to Da Costa to make that decision to go down the inside. That's my take on it. That's entirely it's both drivers. It's entirely Felix's decision. I feel like.
Yeah. I think I speak on everyone reached that. There are very few people, and I think it would just basically be, we could say, that's
have a little play with your mic, Pico.
Everyone else would,
your mic is cutting out a little bit.
Everyone else would agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, Pico, have a quick play with your mic because your mic was cutting out a little bit. It was a bit staticky.
Now that's happened, it will be back.
Yeah, a bit staticky there. Blake, before we let you go, anything else that you would like to add? Brilliant having you on. I think you've been a brilliant caller.
Thank you. I'm just happy to be on the show. That's all I'm gonna put as. I'm just happy to be on the show.
We're delighted to have you on. That's the whole point. It's where you get to have your say on the series. Right, Easter eggs and April Fool's jokes before you go. How many Easter eggs have you eaten, or do you have any Easter eggs? Have you eaten any yet?
The only Easter egg I've eaten is caramel eggs.
Okay, well, the Cadbury's cream egg, the little ones.
Yeah, but they make caramel.
The little ones.
Oh, the caramel ones, and then April Fool's jokes.
I didn't have any big ones because I'm on holiday. I can't import the big ones over to Spain, so I can't.
Okay. You're on
I wish I
holiday
could,
in
but I can't. Yeah.
In Staines. You're not far from me, but Staines. Well, who goes to holiday on Staines?
Spain, you idiot.
Spain! I thought you said Staines!
Spain!
I thought you said Staines!
My God,
Oh, you
Jack,
said
you haven't been
Spain!
there tonight.
I thought you said Staines. I was like, who goes on holiday to Staines? I didn't know Staines was a holiday destination in the UK. Whereabouts are you in Spain?
I'm in country Spain on Gran Canaria.
Gran Canaria. What a way to spend Easter, eh? Not in Staines. I've got friends in Staines, so I've got to be careful what I say.
Right.
Blake, absolute privilege having you on. Thank you. Do come back. Privilege talking to you.
I would after Misano. Cheers, guys.
Perfect.
Cheers, thank you.
Right, let's get Helen.
Let's get Helen in. What's up, Helen?
Helen, how are you?
Hiya, how you doing?
I'm
Yeah,
not too
good.
bad. How's things?
I'm good.
Good, I'm glad you're
Enjoyed
good.
the weekend.
What would you like to talk to us about?
Unsurprisingly, I would like to talk about Dan Tictum, if that's okay with
Yeah,
everybody.
of course. Let's talk Dan. We all love talking Dan.
Oh,
Yeah, like I know I'm probably going to come across as a weird fangirl or something, but no, like genuinely, there's a few of us been talking about this online, and we are convinced there's something wrong with his car.
Yeah,
Like,
but why would
From
they
the
do
start of the
that?
season,
It's
it's not deliberate, obviously, but I think we've been looking at things that have been going on since the start of the season. We've been listening to Dan's reactions on team radio, and we're really confused about what's going on. Like, he doesn't seem to understand some of the decisions that the team are making. They're going around changing things without telling him. Like, they changed the ride height of the car and didn't tell him, and then he's suddenly going, "Why does the car feel like this? I didn't ask you to change anything." They're not putting tyres on that he's asked for. There's just random setup changes that are being done that he hasn't asked for. And when you've got things like 6 laps after the safety car, you somehow managed to lose 12 seconds when he's
Yeah, I
supposed to be
did see that on
saving
the driver
power.
tracker. Yeah.
There's something fundamentally wrong, and I don't know what it is, but neither do the team don't seem to know what's going on. His engineer sounds perpetually confused by the situation.
Yeah.
And Dan just has no idea what's happening half the time. He's trying to react to, braking in the same place. He can brake at the same place on 2 different laps, and the car does 2 totally different things.
Yeah. I feel for
absolutely
Dan.
bizarre.
I will say, if Nick is still watching this, Nick, that's what you need to do in Misano. You need
There
to
you
find
go.
out.
Find out
There you go.
Find out
That's
this little conspiracy.
That's your little
theory.
mission from FEZ.
I think
Find out what's happening down at ERT.
For me, talking to Dan last year, right? I haven't spoken to Dan this year. Did ask to do an interview with him, but ERT didn't get back to me. But speaking to Dan last year, it was that I felt I'm not saying he lacks motivation. I'm not saying that. I think he lacks motivation at the moment. I think, honestly, last season he knew he could drag something out of qualifying, and Sergio Sedecamera's done that, I suppose, twice now this season, and he hasn't. And Dan was so good at doing that last season, and then he's like, well, I can get the car to there, but we can't stay there because of our energy problems. And it's kind of the same situation this year. And I feel for Dan because the 2-year cycle doesn't work for him, and I know there's a lot of talk about he's quick and he deserves a seat elsewhere. And I think from last season, yeah, for sure, if I was a new team, if I was someone who needed a driver, I would have looked at Dan, right? And I don't care too much about his antics and so forth. If he's quick, he's quick. But this season, I worry for Dan because if he's struggling this season, and if they do want to make a change, then if the car's no good next season, I don't know if he want to be in Formula E next year.
I mean, I get what you say, Jack, in terms of like if you're looking at someone, especially from that season to this, you would look at Dan Tictum. But we've all seen the unplugged footage. The unplugged footage of Roger Griffiths saying what he thinks about Dan Tictum. So
which I don't think's fair.
I think that was a bit over the top, and we've heard a little bit of Tictum's response to that. We can't broadcast that for a multitude of reasons. But yeah, I think Dan quit, and yeah, I agree. Something potentially isn't right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pop in because your microphone's just a little bit iffy towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning Dan's motivation. Maybe that was a bit harsh from what I said earlier. I just think he knows every weekend, Helen, that it's going to be rubbish, effectively, to use a polite term. And I think that affects him. He wants to challenge, he wants to race, and because he knows it's rubbish, he's not getting on with it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, and I think if you know that you're in that sort of situation, it's got to be hard to keep the motivation high. And I think his engineer does a good job of trying to keep him on that track.
Yeah.
But then the more that the weekend goes on, like FP1, everything was fine, quite calm. As the day sort of went on, and there was more and more things happening that weren't normal or that nobody could explain, that's when the frustration was setting in.
Yeah. All right. I have just a quick question. Because it comes into my mind now. I think Dan Ticktum, for me, he's Formula E is massive for him, and I don't think he can afford to drop out of Formula E. But if he drops out of Formula E, like, where would he go as a fan? Like, he'd probably end up in a GT3 series, racing in whatever the Blanchpan series is called now.
I reckon he could do WEC.
Yeah, he could find himself into WEC, but you go missing in WEC because you're part of a team of 3 drivers, and it's easy to just, I don't know, go missing and get forgotten about. Whereas in Formula E, it's you're right front and centre, you make the difference. And I think that's good for Dan. And I worry for Dan that if he was to leave Formula E, that not he'd find difficult, but I just think like he'd be like Mauro Engel, right? Mauro Engel used to race in Formula E Season 4, announced his retirement today from racing and to focus on rally, but he'd be kind of like a Mauro Engel, right? And he kind of just would fade. He raced in Blanchepon, but you kind of just like, ugh, if you know what I mean. Are you worried for Dan in that sense that, you know, his career might just take a downward spiral?
I'm curious to see how the 3.5 Evo goes, because I think that is going to be the breaking point, really. I think this season they're having to just accept that they're riding the rest of the season out. They're not really going to be able to change anything, what they've got now. He's just going to have to deal with it till the end of the season, as bad as it's going to be.
Yeah.
But if the 3.5 car comes in next season and there's not really any sort of improvement or any hope of an improvement, I really do worry about what's going to happen going forward. Not just to Dan, but generally to the team. I mean, they're a very small team.
Yeah.
And if they continue struggling like that, what's going to happen to the team?
Oh, well, I think for everyone it makes sense. I think for ERT to become a customer team, I think for them producing their own powertrain is pointless. I think if they were to team up with a Jaguar or a Porsche or a Yamaha or
Lola.
Yeah, I think ERT would be in better shape. I think if they were to not be a manufacturer, I think that would help them. Would you
Yeah,
agree?
I know they've managed to get a few sponsors and stuff on board, which is always promising, but I think long term, the fact that they're doing their own powertrains and they haven't really got anybody sharing data and they haven't got that kind of aspect of it as well, I think it is going to be more difficult. So if an opportunity came up for them to get a powertrain, become a customer of somebody else, even if it was Yamaha coming in from Lola, that's got to be a bonus. It's got to help them in the long term.
Yeah, 100%. Helen, we've got to let you go, but it was a fascinating conversation. We'll keep tracks on Dan Ticktum and do come back because I'm happy to talk Dan. I'm a big Dan supporter. I kind of want to, in terms of, I kind of want to break that tradition that he's this bad boy and he's just this person everybody hates, because I don't believe that notion for 1 second. Because speaking to him, he's a nice guy who just wants to win and wants to race, and yeah, he's a bit rough around the edges, but who isn't? You know, we've all got our sides and so forth. So, it'd be interesting, and I do hope for Dan's sake that he stays in. But thank you very much, Helen. We got one more caller to squeeze in before the end of the show, and that is Mr. Joshua Birch. You spent a commentary box with Josh.
I spent the morning with Josh.
Hello.
I thankfully say my voice has recovered from when I spent that morning with Josh. So, yeah.
Yes, our morning in Tokyo was lovely.
Yes.
Thank you. You're too kind.
Glad that you could step in for our own Edward Hunter. So Josh, last caller on the show tonight. What do you want to say?
Well, I noticed that you were still on. I thought, oh, okay, I'll finish. I'll hop on and talk Tokyo because I thought it was a good race. I mean, me and Pico were commentating on it, and it was sort of, we said in the commentary, didn't we? It was like a peloton race, but done well because everybody did actually want to lead that race, and the layout meant that not everybody could, create the gaps that we wanted to. So I thought it was brilliant. And we've sort of hit the ground running now. I think we can actually overtake in Gen 3, which is something in Mexico we were saying, this isn't working, is it? So, I don't know. I'm slightly more... I'm optimistic.
I think they've got the energy management right in terms of, Mexico was, obviously Japan was just about right. You could follow behind, but if you were the race leader, you struggled, but you didn't have to fall back so much because track position was important. There was some importance to track position in Tokyo. And so that, Roland didn't have to drop five places to save energy and then have to work his way up. So I think the track layout and having the energy management just about right with the energy numbers, I think that helped massively.
Totally. And I think as well, the track conditions helped as well because it was wet the day before. So it was drying still by the time practice 2 came around. Caused a lot of issues. No one got a true proper lap in at full pace before qualifying. And then the grid was still slightly damp. So they were all sort of forced onto one line down in towards turn 1. And then it's similar happened in the NASCAR last night actually as well, where through each corner, the racing line changed lap after lap. You sort of had different lines forming, and it was great. And I think the chicanes at the back half of the track, what brilliant moves we saw from the two Porsches. Da Costa, Verline throwing up there. I think Dennis had a go at one point, didn't he?
I really liked that move into T16 into the chicane. That was,
They missed that. They missed the move,
great.
didn't they? They missed the move. Someone overtook someone down into that chicane. I can't remember who it was. But the board, they completely missed it. They were like, oh, he's just in front. I was there, but he overtook him there. I can't remember who it was now. It was 5th or 6th. It might have been Dennis. Can't remember.
I think it was Dennis, because I think Pico, we saw it, didn't we? We were looking at the front battle.
We saw it, and then we sort of saw half of it before they cut away, and then we were just trying to decipher of who it was, really. But yeah, no, Dennis really liked that move into T16, where it's a one-line corner, and they were trying all sorts of stuff into that.
And how important was that last lap as well to prove that Formula E isn't just a one-time wham bam thank you?
Yeah,
it was perfect, and I must say,
Da Costa as well.
Yeah. I've got a feel. You've got a feel, haven't you? And it's a bit sometimes. Penalties should come when they don't come. Is it racing incident? Did not. And I do also think as well that the last lap with the, as you said earlier, the energy savings throughout the race was so crucial. We had 6 minutes 30 under safety car. That gave us 2 extra laps. But with 3 to go, they were at 15% usable energy. So everyone was like, okay, let's lift and coast a little bit. Like you said with Roland earlier on. He was able to keep the lead for a while. But we had Dennis coming through. Verline had more energy. I think Da Costa had some. But they couldn't pass to get the move done. So energy management was critical, but so was track position. It was a perfect balance. And going ahead to Mazzano now in a couple of weeks, a proper racetrack, which has been slightly modded for Formula E, hasn't it all? I'm slightly worried. I think we'll have a better Saturday race, but Sunday with the tack charge, I don't know. I think it might ruin the magic a little bit. I think we're in for another Mexico.
We still don't know if it's coming in with the tack charge. Whether or not we see it, that's another
Mm.
question. It's another whole debate in itself.
But yeah, who knows at this point.
Also, thank you again to the World Feed for cutting away from the podium. And we completely missed what I think is going to be on the highlight reel for everyone at the end of the year, which was Gunther slipping and dropping the champagne bottle.
Yeah, that would have been funny to have got Tom Brooks to have commentated over that.
No.
But yes, but Josh, thank you so much for coming on and,
pleasure.
and spending the last being our last caller tonight. It's brilliant to have you on. Always as welcome. And thank you, and well done for getting up so early and doing all the comms as well, because tough job.
Someone's got to do it, and I want to say thank you as well to Formula E Zone as well, because over the last weekend you really made it possible to get the commentary done and get everything else sorted. And thanks to Pico for stepping in, and Jack, you helping setting all that up as well.
More than
Yep.
We must get you in, Jack.
Yeah, at
Jim,
some
we
point.
must get you in.
Get me in at some
Right,
point.
cheers, boys.
Right, see
We
you
will.
later.
See you later.
Right, and that is Josh. Right, so before we wrap up the show, you had an April Fool's story that you wanted to end on, so let's go.
You're right. Okay, so I'll take you back to 2018. Now, as you will all know at this point, I have an adoration for the Eurovision Song Contest, and it got to the 31st of March, and me and my mate, me and my best mate, who we love Eurovision, we organise the parties every year and everything. It's fantastic. And we went, if they don't announce the running order today, should we announce the running order for the semi-finals? If you do it on if you do the Wikipedia one, I'll do the official press release one. So we got two basic things that are the same order. We post it at the same time, and see how many people we can catch out. And so we posted it to this very large Facebook group that we were both parts of. And he posted the Wikipedia one about 5 minutes after I posted the official press release one. And we managed to catch out quite a few people. There were lots of people in the comments going, "Well, actually, no, this is the same. Someone else has just put the same thing, and it's a Wikipedia one." Underneath my one, and someone was saying the other thing on the side of the other one. So we caught out about 60 people.
Nice.
Which is actually quite good. And then it turns out it was literally about 3-4 days later, they announced the running order, and we got it about 85% bang on.
Wow, that's not pretty impressive.
We got the opening and closing songs for semi-final 2 correct. We got the opening song for and we got through the running order quite soon.
Yeah, your mic
So
on my end
actually-
here is cutting out. I don't know what it is for chat, but your mic is cutting out quite a bit.
Me and my mate, were able to fool quite a lot of people by actually predicting the Eurovision semi-final running order very, very well.
Right,
And that,
so
to me, is my highlight of April.
before you turn into Davros,
It's only for you. It's
no,
fine.
Lou's put mic is an issue. So yeah, it is filtering
Probably
through.
because I'm quite far away from it.
Maybe, I don't know. It sounds like you're rustling something. It seems like there's a wire that might be loose. In the Pico household. But that is it for the show. We've gone a couple minutes over, but thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's been on. Absolute pleasure. Loved it loads. We'll be back hopefully after Mazzano. We are in talks with a number of people, so we might have some specials, but we won't say anything anytime soon. But we don't know when they're going to be anyway, but we are trying to get some other people on. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We might get one before Mazzano, we might get one after Mazzano. But thank you so much for watching. You have been watching the FE Bar. I've been Jack Jordan Miner. He has been Mr. Jack Pickering. And we will see you for another show in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye.